To our viewers here and abroad, welcome to D1NZ. Who will be the Drift King, the 2013 New Zealand champion? Coming to you from Powerbuilt Tools Raceway in Christchurch, this is round 5 of the Codys Bourbon and Cola D1NZ National Drifting Championship. Brought to you by Codys Bourbon and Cola, Castro Edge Oil, BP Ultimate 98 and Dodson Performance.
Well, the season so far has been all about Fang and Wheelhouse, the far north powerhouse. Castrol Edge Commodore, this man has been on the podium 3 rounds so far. He's won 1, he's taken a 2nd place, he's been the form driver, but Andrew Redwood is hot on his heels. The Achilles radial FC RX7, so often the bridesmaid. Redwood's fallen at that final hurdle a couple of times, and let's not forget about Mad Mike Whiddett. He's in New Zealand, he's focused on the title, he wants to be the D1NZ DK for the first time ever. Can Mad Mike set up a run home to the title?
So as we move into round 5, the championship title race, there's your championship leaders coming in. 3 top dogs, followed by Kurt Whittaker, the defending champion, young gun Nico Reed, and representing the South, Troy the Family Guy Forsyth. Welcome to the Codys D1NZ National Drifting Championship. We're at Powerbuilt Tools Raceway for round 5 of the 6th series. Warren, we just killed Tauranga crowd.
This is amazing, Brendan. There are so many people here. There is no room left on the embankment. Everyone else can eat their hearts out. Drifting is where it's at, man. We're the sport of the future.
And as Warren says, it's the fastest growing motorsport in New Zealand. Over 5,500 people coming out, Cantabrians, to see the powerhouses of New Zealand drifting at Powerbuilt Tools Raceway. And Christchurch, round 5, one of the longest drifting sections in New Zealand. It's all about speed, style, smoke, and 6 clipping points that the judges are looking for. As Gaz White shows in the Tectaloy S14, it's a long section, 2 laps per set of tyres, and a long, big apex outer clipping zone at the end of the track.
Talk me through the home track, boss.
Well, yes, it's pretty technical. There's more than 4 turns than most of your tracks up in the North Island there, buddy. Round 5, Rupuna, D1NZ. We're going to go through the judge section. Gareth, 3rd, 4th, handbrake. And then I'll switch back, like feint into it, and then I'll go back to a 3rd. And then I'll just power, and then apex it late. But you've got to try and go out wide to get back down to the marshal point. Heavy! Make sure you get the marshal point right to get up over the crest. And then switch up on the crest, you know. And then you've just got to drive down the hill a wee bit and then just hold it all in one. And then just last turn and she's all over. I reckon the entry is the key. If you don't get the entry right, mate, it mucks up the rest of it.
I started handbraking, I was like, what's he doing? And then I see you go, what? I
really like this track, just, I mean, it's got the elevation change, it's got a bit of a jump sort of through that last section. It's got a fast initiation, big flick coming in, super tight right-hander, and then it's just full throttle through the whole section, you know, so it's heaps of RPM.
It's such a long drift section that you go from this to this in 2.5 laps.
Just eats tyres this track, and we come pretty prepared. We've got another 20 tyres lying around, so bring it on.
I was just staying in 4th gear the whole time, and on the 3rd lap, you're pretty much on belts.
So as the biggest motorsport event in 5 years at Powerbuilt Tools Raceway starts packing out the banks, trouble started happening.
First to find problems before qualifying would even get underway, the reigning Drift King, winner at Manfield, Kurt Whittaker, who would experience serious mechanical difficulty.
We've pulled the front off and we've seemed to have broken the oil pump, which has probably gone through and done a lot more internal damage than we can fix here at the track.
So part of the rules of D1NZ state that if you haven't done a qualifying pass yet, you can actually step into another vehicle. 3 Pro-Am development class drivers offered up their vehicles, and Kurt Whittaker would choose Ruben Amer's A31 Safario to take part in competition in. This is actually the same chassis that Kurt learnt to drift back in way back in 2006.
Shane Van Gisbergen, you're in the wrong seat. What's going on here?
Yeah, we had a few issues with the Rattler Falcon yesterday. Unfortunately, it was going real good in practice, so it's a bit of a shame, but Darren here has offered me his car to use for the day, so that's really awesome of him, really appreciate it, but need to learn how to use it. So best way, go for a hot lap and figure out how it's done and have a go myself.
And do you think you're going to have to change your technique very much?
Oh, I think I'll have to use the clutch and the handbrake. Normally I just try and flow it and drive, and the torque pulls me out, so yeah, I think the style will be different.
So a true hallmark of a professional there, Shane Van Gisbergen, asking Darren Kelly for some pointers, acknowledging that he's never driven this car before and doesn't know how it's going to behave. Van Gisbergen will get better each qualifying pass, eventually ending up in 4th.
And the long section at Powerbuilt taking another victim, Jason Sellers in the Wong C33. One qualifying pass and snapped a tensioner. That would be him on the trailer for the weekend. Unfortunate bad luck this season.
The man who's had the worst luck of them all though this season, Gaz Whiddett, he's wrecked the car, he's blown an engine.
Gaz Whiddett, the brand new LS7's in the hole.
We had the same setup on the old motor and it didn't have any problems, but obviously with the more CCs in this thing, it needs to breathe a bit more.
So Gaz Whiddett would look real strong through qualifying going out, and he was actually sitting in the number 1 spot, had a run of 83 in the back. Whiddett, then it would all go wrong for him again. And that horrible sound you can hear is another terminal engine failure as the rescue crew make sure there's no fire risk.
So what you're looking at here is Gaz Whiddett's Tectaloy slider, and this has just exited the engine at speed. That was a piston.
So as qualifying continues and the judges look for speed, style, smoke, angle and the clipping points that we saw earlier on in the show, Andrew Redwood in the Achilles FC RX7 delivers 83, picks up number 2 qualifying spot.
Going to the number 1 spot though for NAC Insurance, the 2JZ Toyota powered RX7 of Datum Templeman.
Made a change with the handbrake and a few other little things, so yeah, we're really pleased with how the car's come out. We haven't wound any more power into it, even though everyone thinks we have, so we've still got a little bit up our sleeves, so yeah, looking forward to that too.
So we come down to the business end, top 32 for round 5. Up the top of the table, Datum Templeman versus local boy James Hoffman, Shane Van Gisbergen versus local Jared Reed, Chris Jackson, the Drift South champion versus Bruce Danek, and on the other side of the draw you've got local guy Troy the Family Guy Forsyth versus Lindsay Lassen, Nico Red versus Gary Tanana, and Mad Mike Whiddett versus local Johnny Latham.
Here's a little something special for the Mazda Rotary fans. Maybe not the purest though. Johnny Latham's Series 6 RX7 with a V8 underneath the bonnet. Series 6 RX7 still 26B, or effectively two 13B rotors joined together. And just for a completely different kettle of fish, another Series 6 RX7, this time with a 2JZ Toyota motor underneath the hood. Again, as we know with the Templemans, they stick a dinner plate sized turbo on everything.
So with qualifying out of the way, we move into battles. How does this differ? Well, qualifying is all about line, it's all about angle, it's all about smoke, and it's all about style. When you go into battles, it's all about proximity, it's all about that chase, it's all about battling your opponent and getting as close as possible. A couple of real stars from the South Island there, Filthy Phil Sutherland and Andrew Dad, both standing out in the local series. Van and Dan Woolhouse welcoming Kyle Jacquois back into competition. And Shane Van Gisbergen giving the young man Jared Reed a little bit of a lesson in how professional drivers attack the sport of drifting.
That's right, Warren, and a big part of these battles is the factor that you've got to treat the front car as a moving clipping point. What that means is where that car goes on the track, the chaser must follow him.
If you follow close enough, you put enough pressure on, your opponent goes off the track. One of the big shocks in the top 32 though, Nico Reed, who has been doing so well. He had 4 mechanical problems all weekend. He was eliminated along with Ben Belcher, who'd broken not 1, not 2, but 3 axles over the course of the weekend. Just couldn't get the RX7 to handle. Mad Mike though had his on a string. It was dancing on the Nitto tyres. Johnny Latham had nowhere to go. He couldn't run away from the Mad Bull.
So as we see the top 32 highlights of the battles, how they went down, after the break we get down to the business end. It's the top 16 from Powerbuilt Tools Raceway. Welcome back to the Codys D1NZ National Drifting Championship, Powerbuilt Tools Raceway. It's the Pro-Am, the Development Series. Darren Kelly versus Jody Vilholz, Joe Kukatai versus Mike Fawley. No mucking around here, straight into the battles.
3,
Yeah, the car's been playing up all of yesterday. We thought we were out of the action and ended up dropping a cylinder. So we're basically running on 5 cylinders at the moment and hoping for the best, hoping it lasts the day.
So these battles are all important in the development series, with series leader Matt Lauder going out early. Darren Kelly and Jody Verhulst both in strong positions to leapfrog themselves up the table. You can see here the good chase coming from Darren Kelly. He's been one of the real standouts so far this season. He missed round 1 at Manfield with a turbo failure, but since then he's been on a real charge. And who can forget Jody Verhulst with that first ever podium for a female drifter in New Zealand at Tauranga, Brendan.
Definitely, Warren. She's going to be hoping for a stronger performance here after Hampton Downs. But one thing Darren Kelly's doing that the judges want to see, and that's that key word that everyone's using this season, proximity.
What does proximity mean, Brendan? It means chasing as close as you possibly can to the car in front. You mentioned it earlier, use that front car as a clipping point.
Definitely an important factor that the judges stressed while they were at driver's briefing earlier in the day. He's going to go through to battle for first and second.
And he's going to be up against either Joe Kukatai and Cam Vernon's Skinny Mobile R32 or Michael Thorley and the Femme Fatale C33 Laurel.
I am pumped. Like,
you're pretty calm, man.
That's good.
You're 17 years old. You've been given the keys to, what, 500 kilowatts of drift monster?
I don't know. It's just drive it. It's heaps easier than my car, so.
Wow, all smiles and a bit of shyness there from Joe Kukatai as he chases down the C33 of Michael Thorley. He's doing a pretty good execution here for a borrowed car. Nice close proximity, as the judges say. Not as wide as he wanted to see there, but he's chasing Mike Thorley where he goes. So Mike Thorley's not going wide, he won't go wide.
You can see Joe Kukatai making maximum use of that horsepower in that grip. Remembering this is a pro-level car chasing a Pro-Am car, so you can see there Joe Kukatai just able to smash that throttle, makes the smoke off those rear tyres, closes right up and goes to the final.
That last one was looking real good.
So the enthusiasm there from Joe Kukatai, his first year in drifting, only 17 years of age. What a replay, what a way to deliver it through to the final. So we see now the battle for third and fourth. Jody Verhulst on the lead.
Yeah, Jody Verhulst there, maybe drag raced a little bit away from the start there over Michael Thorley, but both of them slightly untidy runs here. Verhulst with a wheel off Michael Thorley with a big straighten up and correction there.
That's going to hand a huge advantage to Jody Verhulst, but then again he just handed basically the win. Now if you take your car off the track with 2 wheels, it's a 0. That's a lot of dirt flying up in the rear there. Jody Verhulst lost her bumper. Bit of a sloppy run from both drivers. In the end, it's going to be enough though for Jody Verhulst in the Magan Turbo Supra. She'll come away with a 3rd place and a podium victory.
So to the final we go, the battle of the R32's 17-year-old Joe Kukatai up against the current series leader Darren Kelly, the DKM Fabrication RCS-sponsored R32. Both of them with RB30 combinations underneath the bonnet out of the Godzilla family of Skylines. Look at the smoke coming off the back of that Kukatai Skinny Mobile entry.
Now what you've got to realise while you're watching this is the technical element coming into this last section. This is a big point here. You switch really aggressive. Joe Kukatai, unfortunately too aggressive, drops the wheel, but this is the important part. It's a really long section, and if you don't do it right, you straighten it up like you saw with Joe Kukatai just then.
So Joe Kukatai actually put a wheel off, and that would have handed a massive advantage to Darren Kelly there. You'll see in the replay as they go up and over the crest there, Kukatai just too wide, wheels off in the dirt. Big deduction there from the judges.
So we swap over now, Darren Kelly on the lead. Big initiation from both drivers side by side. A lot of speed from Joe Kukatai in the rear, but it's going to be too much. That will spin him, scrubs it off, and that leaves Darren Kelly. Whether he knows or not, he's got a 10-0 advantage right now. So the other car's off. There you go, that's where it happened. Joe Kukatai gets a 0 for this. Darren Kelly instantly gets a 10, basically the win. And he has to complete this whole section, otherwise he could just chuck it away and it'd be a 0-0. But in this case, Darren Kelly delivers the goods, and that's going to give him an exceptional lead in the championship fight coming into the grand final. Darren Kelly well above Matt Lauder, who was currently leading before the last round. Jody Verhulst, though, not far behind. Check them out in the grand final. But the business end, Warren.
It's time for the top 16, Brendan. The crowd get introduced to their favourite drivers. The biggest cheers for the South Island heroes, Filthy Phil Sutherland, Fangin Admiral House, your current series leader, Shane Van Gisbergen.
Representing 2 degrees in the 350Z, Skies out all the way from Auckland. Another South Islander from Christchurch doing the whole season, Cody Collis making top 16. And Drift South champion Chris Jackson representing Andrew Redwood in the Achilles FC. Cam Vernon in the Skinny R32, Gary Tanana all the way from Whangarei. Representing Rapid Performance in the S13, Troy the Family Guy 4th side. Joel Counter representing Achilles in the S13, and the borrowed car from Robee Nelson, Mr. Kurt Whittaker, the defending champion, and second to last but not least, Mr. Zach Pole in the Rolly R33, but the crowd favourite, the one he will meet, Mr. Mad Mike Whiddett in the Red Bull RX7. The top 16, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. What a lineup it is, what a lot of local people in there. Are they going to upset this championship fight, Warren?
Well, the South Islanders will be upset to see Cody Collis and Chris Jackson head-to-head. Keep your eyes on Andrew Redwood and Cam Vernon. Troy Forsyth up against Gary Tanana, finding some form at Joel Counter versus Kurt Whittaker in their borrowed car.
So this is what the people come out for. Over 5,500 people representing Powerbuilt Tools. It's the first time back in 2 years. The top 16, the first battles. Drew Donovan versus Danum Slim Templeman.
So as the number one qualifier, Danum Templeman will take the lead on the first pass. You can see Danum Templeman starting to accelerate hard. He's on the inside, clip dials in maximum angle. He's nice and tight on that inside apex, and look at the angle. Look at the steering lock that Danum Templeman and the NAC Insurance RX7 is able to generate. He's already created a big gap over Drew Donovan and the Mag and Turbo Tauranga S15. Nice and tight as they went up and over that rise there. Danum Templeman delivering a good solid run here, and he is on track for a good advantage over Drew Donovan.
Very aggressive driving there from Danum Templeman. Bit of a gap from Drew Donovan, so it's going to be a slight advantage there.
Right, so the real challenge here for Danum Templeman is how does he tame the 300 horsepower power difference? How does he tame the fact his car is on semi-slick tyres versus Drew Donovan's road tyres? You can see there that Danum Templeman is closed right up and he's had to straighten up. He got lost there behind Donovan, just didn't have enough room there and just couldn't maintain his drift. Danum Templeman has chucked us all away. He was just lost in that smoke. He had nowhere to go. He didn't want to risk damaging that car. And Drew Donovan's going to go through. So we'll take a look at the BP Ultimate replay here. You can go on board with Danum Templeman and see what the view was like. He couldn't see where he was going.
And unfortunately, that will be Danum Templeman on the trailer. Drew Donovan through. But the next battle up, Fangadan Woolhouse, the V8 versus the 2JZ of Phil Sutherland.
And Phil Sutherland hasn't been seen in D1NZ so far this season. Fangadan can't afford to take any battle lightly.
What about some of these unknown South Island boys that you guys haven't seen before? How do you deal with chasing them?
You know, if they're a bit out of shape in front of you, you can just sort of glide back, a bit more handbrake, a bit more clutching, or, you know, but you can let the revs die down so much on these things and play with them no matter what the battle throws in front of you.
So you see there, Phil Sutherland has the lead as the higher qualifier, absolutely smashing the throttle of the 2JZ through the last big sweeping corner there. Fangadan perhaps a little bit further back than he would have wanted to be. Take a look at this replay here. Phil Sutherland nice and smooth. Fangadan there just a little bit far back. He'll need to close that up if he wants to stay in this title race.
And the Southerner, Phil Sutherland, sticking to him through the whole section, nice and wide there. The judges wanted to see that. Closes the gap on the last section. Bit of a dirt drop there, but there was an advantage to Phil, so that'll make it even, and that means one thing, it's going to be even. Rerun.
Sometimes I'd hate to be a judge, Brendan, but this is what the beauty of drifting is. You can see here on the Dodson replay, Phil Sutherland was not afraid of Fangadan at all.
Yeah, it's a bit of a surprise, but you never know what happens, do you?
Don't be surprised.
Not in Christchurch. Sometimes it all goes well.
Yeah.
Well, will it go well for Phil Sutherland? Can he cause a massive upset in the D1NZ Championship standings? The smoke bellowing off that 2JZ and a bit of a gap between Fangadan and Phil here. A big shallow line there from Phil though.
Yeah, Phil Sutherland was off the line there that the judges were looking for, but he's created a massive gap there over Fangadan Woolhouse. And Fangadan, if anything, is falling back even further, so Phil Sutherland is going to take a big advantage out of this first run of the one more time battle. Fangadan could be going home in the top 16, and that will have massive implications for this title fight as we see Fangadan now taking his lead run, and look at Filthy Phil all over the rear of the Castrol Edge Commodore.
That's an epic chase there from the A31 as we switch into the turn 3. Is he going to be able to close the gap? He pushes wide. This is where we're going to see an aggressive switch to come back in. He's going to take a shallow line. Fangadan on the line the judges want to see, and he's getting a bit of a gap here. Is it going to be enough? Well, Phil Sutherland is doing an excellent job on the last apex there. Fangadan's got a great job to extend that lead, but it won't be enough. Phil Sutherland, a huge upset to D1NZ Championship points, and that'll put Fangadan on the trailer. So Phil wins with an epic lead run and an epic chase run, and this throws the championship wide open to Mad Mike, Andrew Redwood and more.
Super cool. So there are a lot of corners, and you know you're switching left and right.
So Sky's out there, you can see he's plenty enthusiastic, plenty happy about being back on a racetrack after we've come from those concrete jungle tracks. But he's up against Shane Van Gisbergen in that borrowed car of Darren Kelly's, the DKM R32.
And what a go fast there, as Skyzell would say in his 2 degrees 350Z. An exceptional chase there coming into the first section. As he comes into turn 2, is he going to be able to switch aggressively? No. Too much of aggressive switch. That scrubs off his speed warrant.
Yeah, you're right there, Brendan. Skyzell just far too aggressive, dials in too much angle. Actually slows the car right down and it loses all the momentum. Shane Van Gisbergen there up and over the crest, nice and smooth. He's kept the throttle on the whole way through. Skyzell sacrificed all of his speed for angle, and that's going to hand an advantage to Van Gisbergen, who was nice and smooth the whole way through. They'll switch over now. Skyzell will have the lead. And can Shane Van Gisbergen manage to pull off the chase that we know he needs to deliver to get through the top 8?
Well, right now, the angle of Skyzell is upsetting him a lot. Shane Van Gisbergen in his 3rd ever competition. Will he go through to his 2nd ever top 8 in a borrowed car? Yes, he does. Shane Van Gisbergen through to top 8 in the DKM Fabrication R32.
So a couple of familiar foes from the Drift South Championship. Chris Jackson, the SurFab S14, up against Cody Collis in the Budget Tyres Black S13. Cody Collis has the lead, and look at the chase coming from Chris Jackson. Up and over the rise they go. Look at Chris Jackson, but a bit of a correction there. He just got that line slightly wrong, Brendan.
That's right, and that's going to mark him down hugely, but he tries to bring it back, but no, spins. The Drift South champion is a 10-0 to Cody Collis. Cody Collis happy about it, snaking down the back straight there, just stacked on the angle, didn't want to hit him, so bailed out.
And Chris Jackson knew that he'd made a mistake there, tried to come back at Cody Collis too hard, too fast. Couldn't hold it. Up and over the crest he goes, Chris Jackson, but Cody Collis knows he's got this one in the bag as long as he plays it safe. They both crest out wide, on the handbrake, on the gas, out to the outside of the track. Chris Jackson, nothing he can do. Cody Collis through to the top 8.
So it's Achilles time with Mr. Andrew Redwood, the first time we've seen him out in competition. 2nd in the championship points table at the moment versus Cam Vernon.
Self-engaged.
So the gearbox, we've got major issues here. A big championship upset. Andrew Redwood's gearbox is out. The dog box is popped. That will be him towed back to the pits. Christchurch gives him away.
And that's number 1 and number 2 in the title race out as we see Gary Tanana up against Troy Forsyth.
So this is also the final of the BP98 Ultimate Triple Crown, as we saw there. Who will walk away with a year's worth of gas? Well, this was made up for the points from round 1 in Manfield, round 3 at Tauranga, and this round in Christchurch. We will find that one out later, but right now, Troy the family guy, he's on the lead. Gary Tanana, big gap right now.
Yeah, Gary Tanana needs to get closer to Troy Forsyth, but that's easier said than done. Troy Forsyth knows his track like the back of his hand. You can see how close he's getting to those inside clipping points. Inch perfect up and over that rise. Nice and tight to that inside ripple strip there. Goes straight to the outside of the track, mashes the throttle.
As he heads down a clipping point, oh, did he put a wheel off on the front there? That's one thing that the judges are going to be looking at, whether they mark him down for that, but big gap off Gary Tanana. Now we swap over. Troy's on the chase, and what a chase it is.
And it's all gone wrong though, Brendan. Gary Tanana is pulling away because Troy Forsyth has lost all drive. This is tragedy for the family guy. Troy is straight ahead. He's onto the drags trip here at Ruapuna. Troy Forsyth, has he lost that turbo again? Gary Tanana though, he's into the top 8 for the first time ever. Take a look at this replay though. So sad for Troy the family guy Forsyth. He wanted this win so badly in front of his home fans.
What an upset. Well, what else can happen here? It's the Codys Drifting Championship. Back after the break. Welcome back to the Codys D1NZ National Drifting Championship from round 5, Powerbuilt Tools Raceway. Who's one of the rising stars on everybody's lips? Well, it's Zach Pohl. This kid's got it on lock. Let's see why.
And on this car, we've made a lot of custom arms, bent arms, so we're just trying to give this wheel as much free movement as possible between here and here. And you just have to have it, because when you're at maximum angle, it just goes slightly too far. At least with a bit more steering lock, you can pull it back, as opposed to just spin out. And that's why all drift cars have maximum lock. Well, let's have a look. That's our maximum angle there on the R33.
So Zach Pohl actually made overnight modifications to this car, had to bring it back and get it re-scrutineered just to make sure it was safe. Into the top 16 he goes, up against the bad bull, Mad Mike. The RX7, Mad Mike is a man on a mission at the moment, looking to get to the top step of that podium.
Too loud, too bad is one of his sayings in the back bumper, but the chase from Zach Pohl's instantly in on that back bumper of Mad Mike Whiddett.
You can see just how badly Zach Pole wants to stay within close proximity of Mad Mike. He's cut that corner so fine, he's just about got a wheel off. Probably has actually got a wheel off. The judge is going to be looking at that. There's possibly going to be a deduction there. Getting locked. Look at that. Zach Pole just looming up in the smoke plumes of those Nitto tyres. Zach Pole, what a chase there. A little bit of a correction there in the smoke. Mad Mike mashing the throttle. Quad rotor screaming, but Zach Pole right there with it. What a chase from the young man.
Now what's important to note here is the judges are going to look at this chase and they're going to go, that's an epic chase, but how much do we mark him down for the corrections from that chase? Is Mad Mike going to be able to deliver a better chase with no corrections? We're about to find out.
Zach Pole carrying maximum speed and he chucks the wheel off there and straight away Mad Mike is on the radio to his crew. He's chucked the wheel off as well, but he's saying it's been caused by losing his sight in that dirt from Zach Pole's car. So the judges are going to need to evaluate that with their decision. Both drivers just continuing on their way as though nothing has happened. This is D1NZ drifting at his finest. Look at Mad Mike trying to reel in Zach Pole, but look at the drive coming from the young man out front. He's tight on the inside corner. He's out wide. He's mashed it through. Zach Pole, has he done enough to win? No, the judges call it even, and controversy will reign here at Ruapuna. The crowd, whose side are they on?
Well, Warren, you see here as they came into the entry of the section, both drivers drop a wheel, and that scores them both down instantly. So the judges go back to the first run. It's even, so it's a re-run. The scorecards are wiped clean. We start again.
Mad Mike, as the higher qualified, takes the lead again. Zach Pole, he's got to replicate that amazing chase of his first run. Can he put the pressure on the Mad One again? Or will Mad Mike pull through with his experience? Look at Zach Pole, though, right on that rear bumper. We talked about using the car as a clipping point. We didn't mean it quite that literally.
What a lead by Mad Mike. Everything the judges have asked for, the drivers are delivering, but Zach Pole now drops a bit of a gap there, but still manages to pick it back up on the line.
Yeah, Zach Pole there right on the outside line there, and a bit of a correction though. He got too close and he just had to make a little adjustment there. Mad Mike in the meantime has stayed on the line the judges have asked for, and that's going to be a real slight advantage there to Mad Mike. But Zach Pole, what a chase, Brendan. We are seeing the battle of the round without a doubt. Look at this replay. Look at Zach Pole right up the inside there. Just got a little bit in too close here. Got himself a little bit trapped and had to make a correction. We go on board now with Zach, taking a look back at Mad Mike. No one chases better than this man.
And he is not going to hold back. He wants this championship fight coming into the grand final. You see him there lurking in the smoke, not letting up. Zach Pole pushes wide. This is where Mad Mike's going to dive into the Marshall point and put the hammer down. Side by side, door to door, switches aggressively.
Mad Mike is actually one of those rare drivers in New Zealand, Brendan, who drives by engine sound. He doesn't even need to see where the car is in front of him. He just drives off the throttle sound and makes his judgments off that. Zach Pole drops the wheel off. He's thrown it all away. Mad Mike to the top four. Brendan, the pressure was on there. The young man just couldn't get the job done at the end, but what a drive nonetheless from Zach Pole. What a chase run from both drivers, but Zach Pole, slight mistake, that's all she takes at this level. Mad Mike to the top four.
Well, I think the Christchurch crowd has definitely just seen one of the best battles this season on one of the longest sections this season. There goes Lindley, Kurt Whittaker's partner up in the crowd there. Kurt Whittaker, how is he going to drive in this A31?
Well, he's about 300 odd horsepower down on what he'd normally have, Brendan, but he's making a pretty good go of it so far, up against local man Joel Counter, also sponsored by Achilles Radial. Kurt Whittaker nice and smooth out front, doing what he can there with this Pro-Am level car. And Kurt Whittaker just got to keep it nice and straight and hope that he forces his opponents into mistakes.
All right, so we swap over here now. Kurt Whittaker on the chase. Joel Counter's got a slight advantage as they switch through. Come there. Kurt Whittaker, though, definitely the better one of the two of the chasers. Slight correction there from Kurt, but he has got a major advantage coming out of this section. Is it going to be enough to push him through?
Yeah, where Kurt Whittaker has done a good job there is just to put the pressure on Joel Counter there. Joel Counter was a long way back in his chase, and that's going to put Kurt Whittaker through to the top 8.
And the top 8 board, what an interesting board. A lot of big names out. Drew Donovan, Phil Sutherland, Shane Van Gisbergen and Cody Collis, Cam Vernon, Gary Tanana, Kurt Whittaker and Mad Mike Whiddett. That's your top 8 for round 5, Powerbuilt Tools Raceway. So as Ben Belcher looks on with anticipation, we've got Drew Donovan, the mighty V8 versus the 2JZ A31 Safiro from D&D. Drew Donovan, very excited. It's one of his first top 8s, and we go straight into the battles. Drew Donovan on the lead. Phil Sutherland way back, though. That's going to be a big advantage to Drew Donovan as they switch in. Now Phil tries to close the gap through the Marshall point of BP Ultimate. Switches there. Big correction there from Phil Sutherland now.
You can see there Phil Sutherland just trying to be careful because he knows he's got a speed advantage over Donovan. But it's all gone wrong for Phil Sutherland. Where's he gone? He's straightened up and he's lost all drive. You can hear there, it just doesn't sound that good. Phil Sutherland was on such a tear here, had a big smile on his face, and it's all gone horribly wrong. You'll see here on the replay, it just straightens up, loses all drive, and that will send Drew Donovan through to the top 4.
Next battle up, you've got the V8 star Shane Van Gisbergen, not on a V8 though, versus the local boy Cody Collis. Top 8 battle action. So we go, Shane Van Gisbergen in the lead in the borrowed car as we switch through the track. Very good line there, nice aggressive flick from Cody Collis in the rear, and good proximity. He's treating Shane Van Gisbergen as a moving clipping point, staying as close as he can to him.
Yeah, really interesting, Brendan, just how much more comfortable Cody Collis has been here at home in the South Island too. That hometown support has really buoyed the local man, and he's putting up a great fight here against the V8 star. Let's see how Van Gisbergen goes on his chase, but Cody Collis, he knows this track so well, he's going to make Van Gisbergen try and earn this win.
So as Van Gisbergen comes in the borrowed car, Cody Collis pushes wide. He's definitely going to make him earn that win, that top 4 if he can go through. Shane Van Gisbergen, 2 hands constantly on the wheel. It's quite interesting, but big mistake there from Shane Van Gisbergen. Cody Collis now has the advantage. All he has to do is finish this run, and he deprived Shane Van Gisbergen of his first top 4. Cody Collis through to top 4.
You'll see here on the replay there, Shane Van Gisbergen. This is probably the difference between knowing a car 100% and being unfamiliar with it. Van Gisbergen just got in too close, got lost, made a mistake, and that's Cody Collis through.
Next battle up, Gary Tanana versus Cam Vernon.
Well, fortunately, luck's on my side today. Unfortunately for Troy, he had something go wrong with his car, but we're all bros, and yeah.
For me to make it to the top 8 is pretty cool and all, but it's just really unfortunate how I got here. You know, Sellers mechanical, Andrew Redwood having mechanical on the line, but you know, come up against Gary Tanana and anything can happen.
So there's an old saying in motorsport, and that is to finish first, you must first finish. And while the driver's on the line, got to their positions right now by mechanical from their opposite opponents, they are not holding back. The gloves are off and it's battle time. Cameron Vernon, what a chase.
Yeah, Cam Vernon doing a good job there. It seems to have a little bit more speed than the C33 Laurel of Gary Tanana.
So Vernon's closing up on this last apex. All he's got to do is push out wide. That's going to be advantage to Cameron Vernon in the R32 Skinny Mobile. You see here, nice closure of the gap, good proximity. So he may have got a free pass from Andrew Redwood with a mechanical, but he's earning this place in this top 8 battle. Switches on through, manages to get away from Gary Tanana. Gary Tanana just a bit shallow. He's still going to be stoked as to make that top 8, but Cam Vernon, it's all about him right now, and he's going to go through to the top 4.
And is this a performance we've been waiting for all season for Vernon? He's into the top 4 now. That podium awaits potentially for the young man from Pukekohe. Take one more look at the replay here. You'll see Gary Tanana trying to close up on Cam Vernon like he did on his chase run. Chucks a wheel off the inside, it hooks the car around. Tanana loses all momentum, falls back even further, Vernon through.
So this is Mad Mike's push for the championship now. He's got a huge advantage over this borrowed A31 of Kurt Whittaker.
So happy that Ruben offered his car up. You know, we'd kind of given up hope, and you know, we were going to be sitting up on the bank with everyone else.
So Kurt Whittaker, the defending champion, wants to go out fighting for his title, but Mad Mike here is going to have a massive horsepower advantage. He's going to have a massive grip advantage. You can see here, he's just going to drive away from the Pro-Am spec car of Ruben Hamer. That's only on a 235 wide tyre. Mad Mike 265 wide semi-slick race tyres. Mad Mike mashing the throttle. Mad Mike driving away. Kurt Whittaker doing what he can, just trying to hang on, but he's got no hope of hanging on to that Mad Bull RX7.
Well, Kurt Whittaker's in an underpowered car and he's unmatched, but he deserves the respect. He's defending his title and he's the defending champion. Kurt Whittaker on the lead now. Mad Mike, those switches, did he drop a wheel? Well, it's not maybe going to be enough. There's that big gap on the first run, but Mad Mike, bumper to bumper, door to door. Oh, Kurt Whittaker and Mad Mike off. I'd hate to be a judge right now.
Oh, Kurt Whittaker went off first there. Mad Mike had nowhere to go. He was using Kurt Whittaker as the clipping point. Whittaker effectively trapped him on the inside, and that will send Mad Mike through. As we take a look on the replay, Kurt Whittaker just got the line all wrong. That's 4 wheels off. That's first offence. Mad Mike nowhere to go, and he is through to battle for first and second.
So Kurt Whittaker had the loud pedal down the whole time, but it won't be enough. But after the break, more loud pedal as we come into the top 4 of D1NZ. Welcome back to the top 4 of the Codys D1NZ National Drifting Championship, and 3 drivers that have never been in the top 4 before. Drew Donovan, Cody Collis, Cam Vernon, the one to beat, Mad Mike Whiddett. It's all going down. Drew Donovan in the Mag and Turbo V8 S15 versus Cody Collis in the budget Tyres S13.
My name's Cody Collis. I'm from Christchurch. I'm just driving as hard as I can, got the car running right, and yeah, we just get in there and just loving it.
We went up against the #1 qualifier, Dane Templeman, so that was never going to be easy. This track itself just flows so nicely for drifting, and I just wish we could come here more often, to be honest.
So Drew Donovan scrubs the tyres and we're straight in. Smoke pouring off Cody Collis as they both switch in. And Drew Donovan doing the best to keep up with this local. He knows this track, it's his hometown stomping ground. But Drew Donovan pushes wide here. He's going to be able to link the last section where we don't see Cody Collis on the other hand. Bit of a wheel off there. The judges are going to score that one even, so we swap over now. Drew Donovan's going to be on the lead, Cody Collis is going to be on the chase, and what a chase it is from Cody Collis. Already initiated, huge angle.
And Cody Collis putting all sorts of pressure here on Drew Donovan. Cody Collis definitely has the faster car here, and it's all going to be up to Drew Donovan to try and force a mistake here out of Cody Collis if he wants to fight his way through to stand on the podium, step 1 or 2. Has he got it in the tank? Cody Collis, though, all over the back of the Mag and Turbo Tauranga S15. Drew Donovan with a bit of a correction there, bit of a straighten up. Cody Collis tucks down to the inside. Cody Collis definitely wants to go to this final in front of the hometown fans.
And what a chase it was from Cody Collis, and that's going to be enough. Cody Collis goes through to battle for first and second. As we see here, the BB Ultimate 98 replay, what a chase coming through the apex, switches over the rise really fast and aggressively, manages to stick it to Drew, and that pushes him through. Well, Cam Vernon, welcome to the big time. Your first top 4 battle against the one and only man, Mike Whiddett. Now, 2 of the most colourful D1NZ drivers, as Warren just said to me behind the scenes, if they crashed, they'd turn into a whole bag of Skittles all over the track. But anyway, we're into the action. Mad Mike Whiddett with a huge lead off Cameron Vernon. Cameron Vernon's going to do his best to close the gap, but Mad Mike Whiddett stomping the 26B quad rotor down the track, wide, smoky, big backfire there. Is it going to be enough? Cam Vernon struggling to keep up with him as we listen to that quad rotor sing. Okay, so that's a huge advantage there to Mad Mike Whiddett as we swap over. Cam Vernon's going to try to deliver the goods, but Mad Mike wants the championship points. Bumper to bumper. He's mashing through the gears. He's going to switch back and dive on in. Cameron Vernon. Cameron Vernon's just going to put the loud pedal down, try to get away from Mad Mike, but Mad Mike is sticking to it. He's not hanging back. He's going to switch here aggressively. Back off and back in. Both cars in 4th gear. About 140 km/h on the wheel speed. Last corner, big backfire from Mad Mike. Cam Vernon can't upset him. Mad Mike will go through the battle for first and second and climb that championship ladder.
Let's check out the replay of how Mad Mike took the fight to Cam Vernon. He might be the Pro-Am champ, but Mad Mike wants the Pro title. Look at Mad Mike on the gas, on the bumper, using Cam Vernon's car as a mobile clipping point. Cam Vernon will go into the battle for 3rd and 4th up against Drew Donovan, the Mag and Turbo Tauranga S15.
Well, what a round it's been for these 2 drivers. The best result for them ever, and new emerging New Zealand drifting stars as such. Cam Vernon on the lead, Drew Donovan on the chase. Right now their lead is with Cameron Vernon, and the advantage with Cameron Vernon. Drew Donovan just can't keep up with it, a bit of a shallow line there. Cam Vernon fast and aggressive, switches over the last corner. Drew Donovan now though pushes wide, comes wide, slight correction there from Cam Vernon. They push to the last corner. Cam Vernon ducks in. That is going to be a very even run in the judges. We swap over. So Cam Vernon on the chase, Drew Donovan on the lead. Cam Vernon's managed to close the gap a bit there. Drew Donovan sinks on in, bags up the V8, but a big mistake there from the skinny mobile R32. That is going to hurt him, but he closes it back up, but he hits it. It's done. Cam Vernon chucks it away.
And chuck it away Vernon did by hitting his opponent and losing drift. That's an instant 10-0. Drew Donovan, doesn't matter what happened the first time out, that's going to put Drew Donovan on step number 3 of the podium. Best result ever for the man all the way from Tauranga. Proudly DMNZ, proudly representing the V8s and the S15.
Well, let's see that touch one more time. Cam Vernon knew he had to do something, but he just pushed too hard. That put off all the angle he needed, scrubbed all the speed. He tried to bag it back up, but it wasn't enough. So it comes down to this. This is what 5,500 Cantabrians came out for. First time back in 2 years, and they've got a local boy representing them. Cody Collis versus the star, Mad Mike Whiddett in the Red Bull RX7. Piston versus rotary. This is important. The championship fight. Mike, but big upset straight off the bat with Cody Collis in a straight line. And now he's off. Mad Mike drifts on past. This is a huge upset for Cody Collis, but Mad Mike Whiddett, round and round, winning's winning, winner, chicken dinner. Mad Mike takes top podium spot for round 5, Christchurch.
One more look at this via the BP Ultimate Replay. Cody Collis just all out of sorts. Lost all drive. Mad Mike, you'll see him drifting on past there. You'll see the hand come out the window. Mad Mike knows he's got the job done. As Cody Collis's car is towed back to his pit crew, they're still proud of him no matter what. Cody Collis home in second, but the Mad one, Mad Mike Whiddett.
Mad for Wayland, number 1.
That's right, so the BP Ultimate 98 Triple Crown winners, Mad Mike Whiddett, Fangerdam Woolhouse and Kurt Whittaker, 3 rounds supported by BP New Zealand. The Pro-Am winners, Darren Kelly, Joe Kukatai, and the female drifter, Jodie Verhulst. What an epic round from those 3. And of course, the round winners, Drew Donovan, his first ever podium. What a stoke man he is. The local favourite, Cody Collis, and the high five from the son, Lincoln Whiddett. Mad Mike, Dad stands on top of the podium. And those all-important championship points coming into the grand final. And the top 4, the top dogs, Kurt Whittaker, the defending champion, but the top 3, only 28 points between Andrew Redwood, Mad Mike, and the leader, Fangerdam Woolhouse.
What we wanted to do was get number 1. A massive thanks to my team, all my sponsors, and huge thanks to South Island for having us in a wicked event.
My main partner is Red Bull and Speedhunters. Without the support, it's not possible. It's very expensive for us to be able to run these championships and stuff, so thank you very much.
What that means for the final round, Andrew Redwood, he's got to beat Fangerdam by 4 positions. Mad Mike, he's got to finish 3 positions ahead. It's all on at Taupo.
Well, what an event! Christchurch, Powerbuilt Tools Raceway for round 5 of the championship. You can clearly see who the winner is.
Mad Mike Whiddett absolutely owned it on track. He's owning the victory skids. What an event here in Christchurch. I love it. Let's do it again.
Drifting by far is New Zealand's fastest growing motorsport.
We are the future. Let's keep growing.
If you want to support D1NZ, get down to the Codys D1NZ Grand Final, Raiko Taupo Motorsport Park, June the 22nd, 23rd. Big thanks to Codys Bourbon and Cola, Castro Edge Oil, Dodson Performance and BP98.